Hey, what's up, pro wrestling fans? Welcome to the Nation's Corner. I am Front Row, joined this week by our normal cast of characters: Debhausen, the great and powerful; Tony Justice, greatest truck driver of all time; and Mongrovian Mike. What's up, people?
What's happening?
What a week!
Yeah.
My goodness, what a week!
Yeah.
Wow, we got a full crowd in the chat tonight. Let me run down.
Yeah.
We got Trenda, Ashley, Neil. RA's in there. Seth, Mrs. Front Row. Neil again. John.
Johnny boy.
3 Neils. Awesome.
Wow.
That's 2 more Neils than we need.
Right.
Well, tonight's a big night. Tonight is Mission Pro Wrestling's Edge of Glory. The show starts in about an hour on Title Match Network. We'll briefly run down the card. If you want to get more information, watch the pre-show. And, of course, the pay-per-view starts at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Man, just a crazy week in wrestling. All kinds of stuff. There's rumors and news. There were pay-per-views last weekend. Some interesting stuff going on. So let me just really quickly run down our Mission Pro card. We're also going to talk about the draft. Draft is awesome. Draft is coming. We have thoughts, opinions, and as my wife says, some thoughts. Tonight on Edge of Glory, we have Tiffany Nieves and Shay Carmichael. Tiffany has just making an incredible name for herself over the last few outings. I'm really excited for this match. We have Vanity versus Alejandra Leon. Vanity is now the RCW Phoenix champion, and this is an RCW title match. So that's going to be pretty cool. We have Eddie Camacho, who has been a staple at Mission Pro over the last few pay-per-views, and I'm super excited to see her face Mia Friday, who's also no stranger to Mission Pro. We have the Men's Revolution, Joey Hyder and JP Harlow versus Danny B and Charity Kane, the King Bees. I believe this is for a #1 contendership for the tag titles. So this is going to be interesting. Danny B and Charity Kane obviously facing Bougie Reality at Silver Bells 2. Most of us were there for that match, and that was a crazy fun match. Bougie Reality is defending their tag titles against the Money Birds. Money Birds have been an up-and-coming team, but, man, Bougie Reality has really made just to become like one of the most over tag teams out there. So this is going to be a hard battle for the Money Birds, but you never know. And, of course, our main event, Genocide versus Hyon. So just quickly on that, Genocide is defending her Mission Pro title against Hyon, who has made an incredible name for herself on the indies in Texas, across the country, and in Japan. She brings the Japanese strong style that is kind of going to be interesting to see how Genocide matches up with her. So that's a match I'm really excited for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Genocide back at Mission Pro. I just think she's incredible. I think she's gonna, take it again, and I'm also excited to see Bougie Reality. I know we all watch Maddie's little videos
Side
that she
character.
does, her side character videos. She's fantastic. She's hilarious. She's great in the ring. She's got the look. So yeah, I'm definitely pulling for Bougie Reality.
Yeah. Of course, I'm a full-fledged member of the #Muscle Army for Genocide, so I'm happy to see her back and her defending her championship. And of course, I think she's gonna come out on top tonight. I think that's one of my highlights that I'm waiting to see that. And I have to agree with Deb, the Bougie Reality and Money Birds match. Except I predicted on Match the other night that I thought that Money Birds were going to pull it out. I think that Bougie Reality is going to lose those titles tonight. But I am a fan of Maddie Rankowski. I absolutely those videos she does, the side character spotlights, are absolutely hilarious. My favorite one out of all of them, though, is the one she did with Colin King. That is a hilarious one. And if you haven't seen it, go back on her social media and check it out. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, I like the one she did with Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm hoping we see more of those in the coming weeks because they're just hilarious.
Yeah.
She's a great character too.
Yeah,
She
Yeah, she
really got
does.
to him. Yeah, she gets to everybody. She's
like a
so,
minute.
and then the people want to know. Anywho,
Anywho.
It's like, don't look,
yeah.
don't look. Oh, and I did
my
want to. I
God.
forgot to mention one match. I forgot to mention was Dream Girl Ellie and Misty Marks, and I know Trenda and I have differing opinions on this match. And go back to the Unmatched Mission Pros Unmatched show from Thursday. We may have had a difference of opinion about how Misty Marks was going about getting her opportunities at Mission Pro. So definitely check out that show tonight. After this, we're all going to jump over to title match and check it out. So appreciate everybody giving us a look. So let's talk about some of the cool stuff that's going on. Deb, I know there's a lot that happened this week, but since our last show, Impact had an unbelievable pay-per-view. And I've said it every week. I'm super impressed with the way that Impact presents their women's division, and they're even sort of dipping their toes into some intergender matches done the right way. What was your favorite match from that Rebellion pay-per-view last week?
I honestly think my favorite match would be the Ultimate X match for the tag titles with Ace and Bay and Motor City Machine Guns. It was just an absolutely incredible match. If y'all didn't catch the pay-per-view on Sunday, definitely at least check out this match. But frankly, the whole pay-per-view is fantastic. Motor City Machine Guns, they've been in Impact / TNA for a long time, actually celebrating 20 years. Ace and Bay are, they're part of the Bullet Club. They're just, you guys know I'm a huge fan of them. This match was absolutely incredible. It was insane. They were doing some crazy spots without it being a spot fest. Like, they were doing all the right things that we always talk about, things that Bully always talks about, as far as psychology in the match. It was incredible, and they showed off some insane athleticism. So I highly recommend going to watch that match. But other than that, I mean, it's honestly hard to leave out any of the matches because they were all so good. It was just an incredible card top to bottom. We got new champions on both the men's and the knockouts. We saw.
So before you go further,
Yeah.
I want to stop there for a second, because first I got to give a huge shout out to Mickie James, who just an incredible champion. She is a legend. She is one of my favorite hosts on Busted Open.
Yes.
I love everything Mickie James. I feel terrible that she had to relinquish that title, but my God, what a match.
Right.
And I think I read somewhere that Jordan Grace may be working without a contract. Her contract expired. She was doing all this as a free agent, which is crazy. Like, the dedication and the level of performance that she's been giving is unreal. And she's completely transformed herself. So I'm just a huge fan of both women, but congratulations to Deanna.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of both of them. Like you said, Jordan has completely transformed her body. She had her first bodybuilding contest on April 1st, and she did great. I think she placed first in like everything that she was competing for. So I mean, she is just killing it. Like, the focus that she has for like the bodybuilding and just keeping her body as good as it can be, plus still continuing to wrestle at a high level, is just it's incredible. And then Deanna has just really
Who does that remind you of?
Who does that remind me of?
One of our friends did something very similar while he was wrestling, going and doing competitions, coming back, still performing at a high level. Mark Henry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I never thought of that before.
So David in the chat asked a good question. You know,
Yeah.
they're sort of leaning towards these power couples. Obviously, you have Macklin and Peraza, you've got Nick Aldis and Mickey James. There's going to be a real interesting power struggle there, especially when Mickey comes back at full strength.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the whole power couple angle would be really, really interesting because all four of them are just so good. Deanna has really made a name for herself recently since she left WWE, went over to Impact. She's improved a lot. We heard her talk on Busted Open about kind of the journey in like finding herself and all that. So she's definitely become kind of a breakout star in Impact recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course we saw that hardcore war, and I just love the way that they're doing intergender interactions between the different talents, and it's just
right
because they're putting the right people in there to give legitimacy to that type of match. There's no moments where I'm like, this isn't believable. The people that they're putting in there with Killer Kelly and Masha, obviously, they're in my opinion, those are the right folks to be in that position.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's definitely believable adding those two women in the mix with the other men on the teams. That was just an insane match. Honestly, I wouldn't expect anything less from something planned out by Bully and Tommy Dreamer. So it was just really crazy. We got to see, an amazing, Superfly off the ladder that Tommy did. We got to see Bully yell at the refs to hold his ladder, and they refused, and then they beat him up.
Which
so it's nice
great.
to see Bully getting beat up by a bunch of refs.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it was great. It was a great pay-per-view top to bottom. There's not really any match that kind of like was a lull match or not that interesting. Built-in storylines with everything. It was just great. Impact has been really killing it. It's definitely my favorite show of the week now.
I can see why. I mean, the story. Sorry, Tony, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, shout out to Dirty Mitch in the chat. He gave us a kind of a scenario. Also, maybe an Aldis versus Bully for the disrespect towards Mickey, because Nick Aldis is there now, and Bully's been kind of talking down to Mickey. Hey, that would be great. I wouldn't argue with that.
And so Tony, to your point, for folks that didn't make it to the Busted Open party, Bully was throwing a lot of shade at Mickey at that party too, and I don't believe Nick was real happy about it. So for those who were in attendance, they saw some of that live. So yeah, I think that's going to carry over to TV at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on Thursday on Impact's weekly show, we got a little bit of follow-up. Looks like PCO is challenging for the title, so I'm excited to see that coming up. And it was just, it was a really good follow-up. We had some great matches with Time Machine and versus Speedball, Jonathan Gresham, and Trey Miguel. That was a great match. I highly recommend watching that one if you missed the show. But yeah, all in all, Impact is just doing a great job. Like you said before, their women's division is just killing it. I honestly think they have the best roster of any of the major companies, top to bottom. I don't think there's really no weak link. They pretty much have every person in the roster involved in something.
Yeah. You said Trey Miguel, right?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Trey, I got Trey Hombres today from ZZ Top. Today is National Liquor Store Day, so I just figured I'd throw that in there. Sorry about that. Just, squirrel.
Happy Record Store Day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to your point, Deb, like, we talk about the women's rosters and you're talking about the roster as a whole, but for me, my favorite women's roster on TV right now, obviously, is NXT. NXT is just, this week they had match after match after segment with some of the the most talented rising stars in the industry.
Mhm.
The way that the presentation is, the way that the characters are being defined, and just you watch these people grow and evolve because they're in the performance center all the time and they're doing the house shows, and it's a crash course. It's a 24/7. It's an incredible process to see them go through and grow. Someone like a Saul Ruka who came in knowing nothing, and like here we are, she's already having banger matches like less than a year later. But I just want to talk about a couple of those matches.
Is a banger.
It's awesome.
Finishing move is a fucking banger.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's very cool. Roxanne Perez is, one of my favorite rising stars. She's obviously a former NXT champion, former Ring of Honor champion. I think it's only a matter of time. We'll probably talk about this when we get to the draft, but I see her as a main roster star like yesterday.
Yeah, I would agree. Roxanne Perez is definitely one of the standouts. Yeah, and Zoe. Definitely the standouts of this NXT roster currently. The other big standout for me in the women's division is Cora Jade. I think she's really, really good. She's got a little bit of a new look, which I love. But yeah, I think those three women specifically are going places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have Nikita Lyons, who's she's injured right now, but she's also a standout. But I think that she's going to remain. With the draft happening, and you have names like Zoe and Roxanne, maybe Cora, possibly being drafted to the main roster. It'll leave room for Nikita Lyons to shine more on the NXT roster. The draft is going to be interesting.
One of the things I think is really interesting is I'm a big fan of well-told stories that don't involve a title. And Mike, I know that who is he on the phone? Is that Chad?
I'm trying to call Chad.
He called me a while ago during the graphics. I just couldn't show it because we were showing graphics for Mission Pro.
I was trying to call him.
Plus, he made a little jab at me in their live chat, which
go ahead.
Whatever.
So, Mike, I want to get your thoughts on this because we've seen Gigi Dolan, JC Jane after the breakup of Toxic Attraction just have this great feud. They've had some killer matches. The promos have been amazing. There was interruptions and beatdowns and stuff this week. And I love this feud so much.
Yeah. So when Mandy left, everybody was like, oh no, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to our favorite Toxic Attraction, our favorite group? And they did nothing but really turn it around for those two, because I'm sure they were like, oh shit, where are we going now? Because they were probably thinking, oh shit, we're Tucky, and but and no offense to Tucky, man, because I loved that guy. But you know what I mean. I mean, Gigi has come into her own. We've been fans of her since we saw her with that match against Thunder in the USA Wrestling. So that was the turning point for us, because up until then I really didn't see too much of her, and whatever she did was doing that we saw wasn't really meant for her. But I did. She is also one of the indie talents. I tell you guys about that. I saw at that one Evolve show that one night. I mean, it's amazing that there's literally so many stars from that one show that I saw. And it is what it is. And JC Jane really surprised me, because I thought JC Jane was going to be the one left on the wayside, because Gigi already had that shine, So it really is good. I'm here. My whole table's vibrating here with him.
It was that kick heard around the world, right? Like that brought a high profile. Like those videos, those clips from that, the JC and Gigi segment with the door, like those went viral. There were millions of views.
Yeah, that wasn't a little baby kendo stick going whap 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 really fast on you. That was some real stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a number of talents on NXT who are pretty much ready to come up. And of course, like Carmelo Hayes, like the dude just won the title, but if he dropped it tomorrow and got called up to Raw, SmackDown, I would not be surprised.
I want
Right.
to strap the rocket on that guy's back so bad, man, because from the first he was on with on Busted Open as a guest, not this last time, the first time months ago,
Yeah.
last year. That was such a good interview, and he was so impressive. And when you hear young talent say that they actually listen to the guys like Mark and Bully and Tommy and all the veterans that you have a wealth of knowledge right there in the locker room right there for you. Listen to them.
Right.
It's like, some of
Agreed.
the people there at AEW, listen to JR. He may make a mistake with names, but the guy knows. Listen to the guy. He's tired of covering for your shit. Him and Tat. Covering up for you.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm all over the map here because I have to leave in a few minutes to go do some production work for the pay-per-view. Mike, Deb, and Tony are going to continue this conversation, but I did sort of question. I'm a huge Cody Rhodes fan, so I want to go back to Raw for a second, get your thoughts on this. I'm a massive Cody Rhodes fan, but I didn't understand why it took 20 security guards to hold him back from Brock Lesnar. Like that was a big disconnect for me. And I love the promos. I love all of that. We're headed towards that match. It's all good. It's part of the story. But that was really weird.
Yeah, he's not Brock or Omos.
Yeah. Brock came out kind of like a Pale Rider or something. Came out with that black trench coat on, on Raw. It was pretty cool. I mean, I'm not going to say that the match isn't going to be great between Cody and Brock. Of course it's going to be great. I think, when is Backlash again? When is it?
This week? Next week?
Next week. Yeah.
Next weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wish there was a little more time to tell a bigger story with Cody and Brock.
Can we, Tony? We're all Yellowstone fans. Can we give Corey Graves his flowers?
Yes.
Corey Graves, Brock Lesnar comes out and Corey says, Brock looks like he's about to take Cody for a ride to the train station. And we all
Yes.
huge pop.
Yeah.
I popped. Speaking of popping, there's a Chad
sure,
Hammonds
but
in the
I
chat,
didn't
and then now there's 2 Chads in the chat, and then the world explodes.
There can be
wow.
only one.
To which I say, fuck Chad.
It is what it is. Who's to say?
Who's to say? It's a maybe. Anywho.
So what pay-per-view
Yeah,
is
Brock
tonight?
had ring vibes.
What pay-per-view is tonight? On the title match
Mission Pro Wrestling's Edge of Glory.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we're just 34 minutes away. I will say that I think the surprise match for me of the week, the match that I enjoyed the most that I didn't think I would, was Miz and Rollins. Like, holy crap.
Yes.
Like, I know Miz can wrestle, but damn.
Yeah. Y'all know that I just absolutely adore Miz. I've been a big fan of him for a long time. I love that guy. And I absolutely love Seth Rollins too. And when that match was announced, it was like, it felt a little out of place. But then again, you're like, oh, it's going to be a great match. I did see, this made me laugh. I did see a bunch of people online like complaining, saying, oh, Miz was just, getting beat up by Snoop Dogg a couple weeks ago, and now he's in a match with Seth Rollins. This doesn't make sense. Yeah, because Miz is the Miz, and he can do anything. That's why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Miz wasn't getting beat up. Miz got surprised. He got sucker punched. That's not the same thing.
Right.
Yep.
But yeah, Miz can do anything. He has a beautiful wife. He has millions of dollars in his bank account. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a year ago, Sami Zayn was stuck in a giant fucking rat trap, and where is he today? So just stop.
Yeah, top of the food chain.
Smacked with that hand.
He's up there in the main
Not only that,
storyline.
it wasn't like the gimmick wasn't working. He had to hold it shut on himself.
Yeah.
And now where is he? So and I'm tired of people. The Miz is buried. The Miz, come on.
Nah, the Miz is at this point, he is, one of the veterans, and he could just they can pop him in anywhere they need him to be, and he'll be fine.
Mhm.
He's
Yeah.
a go-to guy, and just the same thing the way people would Dolph.
Oh,
Ziggler,
yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
they are
yeah.
happy what they're doing. Those guys are making a lot of fucking money.
Exactly. And that reminds me of, I saw a clip from that Chris Van Vliet posted on Instagram of him talking to Dolph Ziggler, and he asked him something along the lines of like, what do you think about your legacy in your career, or what's the best thing about being in the WWE for this many years? And he said, the money. Like, the dude's rich. It it doesn't matter.
There's a Chad turf war going on a chat.
Let them work it out.
Fuck them both.
My friend,
whatever,
my
guys.
money is on Chad Hammond's there.
Yeah, we know the other Chad.
Chad Hammonds takes that tea.
Okay, before I go, I want to get your opinion on one more thing, and that was Trish Stratus's promo. I saw some people that thought it was great, some people that thought it was not so great. At first, when I watched it, I was like, I kind of wanted to hear some more edge, some more bass in her voice, but I saw clips of it, and I sort of rewatched it, and I thought, no, this is actually kind of perfect. Like, I don't need to hear Trish attempting to yell into a mic and overpower the crowd. Like, she really made them listen to her, and the stuff that she's saying, like, a lot of it's true. And even the stuff that's not true, like, she believes as a character.
Right.
So, I mean, I thought it was pretty good.
I thought she did a great job. I remember thinking, like, at one point during it, like, the crowd just didn't seem into it. But I thought she was fine. I didn't see anything wrong with it. Just for whatever reason, it, like, you look out at the people in the crowd, and, like, half of them were on the phone, half of them were talking amongst themselves. Is like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. I've been a wrestling fan for a long time, and I might have forgotten some things that's happened in the past or whatever, but when it happened, when the Trish heel turn first happened, when she first turned on Becky, I actually made the comment to y'all on Zoom. I was like, has Trish been a heel before? Is this her first time being a heel? Because I honestly did not remember her being a heel back in the early 2000s or whenever it was.
She's been a heel. She's been both.
She's been a face for a lot longer, though, so that's what stuck out for me the most. So, I'm interested to see, Trish is a heel. I did make the comment, though, when Lita got taken down in the back. I said it. I said, I think Trish did it. And I called it. So,
yeah.
I called something else, too, the other day, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, Jeff Hardy coming back. Yep, that was it.
Oh, yeah, you called that, too.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
I called Chad.
Keeping tally marks over here. So, anyway.
We'll add some zeros.
By the way, Chad has a new nickname, King Chad, because his name literally means king. I like
Is that redundant? Well,
Chad
better
King
than hanging Chad, right?
I suppose. Yeah.
All right, folks.
Anywho.
I'm going to leave you in capable hands. I've got to jump. You can find me at PW Front Row across all the socials. Make sure to check out Mission Pro's Edge of Glory tonight in about 30 minutes, 29 minutes. Guys, enjoy the rest of the show. I'll see y'all next week.
Have a great show tonight. We'll be watching.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
I do that to show their confidence
Well-
and make you think I know something you don't.
I can't.
Start calling Elder Mr. Rogers for all the stuff he has over there. What is it? What did Mr. Rogers call his?
By the way, look what shirt I'm wearing. You know what today is?
Leo.
It's
Earth Day.
Today's Earth
Yes,
Day.
it is Earth Day.
Woo!
I can't with you.
Leo,
Oh,
apple, baby.
Oh my god. What?
Oh my God, Elder.
Yeah, shout out to Leo Sparrow. It was his birthday recently. And now it's Earth Day. Well, now what are you doing?
Last
I'm
week,
gonna wash that apple down with a fucking Slim Jim.
beef stick.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Okay.
Mongrovians.
Anywho, let's get this train back on the rails.
Yeah, choo-choo,
shall
yeah.
we?
Jeez.
Oh man. Okay, so
Okay, Tony,
let's talk
reel us
about the
in.
draft. Let's talk about the draft. Since we touched on some WWE before Front Row left, so let's talk about some draft picks that we see that could happen. The draft is this Monday, isn't it? Monday and Friday?
I believe it starts Monday. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about some things that we would possibly like to see happen. Mongrovian, we'll start with you.
Well, first of all, I'm burning my draft card.
Oh my god.
I'm just kidding. I won't burn that. That's an RA card. Sorry, RA. That's the only card I grabbed. In the
Were
code,
you in the
everybody.
first? Were you in the first draft, like in the Revolutionary War? You were there, right? You were in the first draft ever.
No, I was in the draft where they just woke you up, and the next day I was rowing.
Oh man.
Okay.
All right. WWE draft.
All right, can we-
Come on.
The draft is. I'm looking at. I see. So they kind of Nakamura came back, so I'm excited about that.
Yes.
Kind of looks like they're putting a little shine on Xavier Woods. You know, giving him like
Yes.
some kind of a solo kind of run here. I hope, and you know, we had Kofi Mania. Maybe one day we'll have Woods Mania, and
We need to. Yes. I need to see. I need to see
deserves it.
Austin Creed on my TV every single week.
Yeah, he's very entertaining, and he's great in the ring. He's great on the mic, and he needs his shine. And
Yeah.
RA's saying that Zoe gets drafted. I believe that too. I think Zoe's coming up.
Yeah.
I think Roxanne Perez is coming up.
Yeah.
I think Braun Breaker's
maybe
coming
one
up.
more. Yeah, I think maybe one or two more from NXT. But
Yeah.
who would be a good fit to go? See, I don't even consider it coming up and going down anymore because we've already established that people kind of go sideways over to there, you know, and they could come back and forth to go in there. So
Right.
I don't know.
I think
who would be a good coming down from like SmackDown or Raw to NXT maybe to get a little more notoriety, so to speak.
I don't know. It's so hard to say. I didn't really think about that aspect. I don't know. I'm just like I haven't put too much thought yet into like who's going to what show just because it really remains to be seen yet if they're actually going to stick to that. You know, seems like every time they do the draft, it doesn't take very long for people to just be showing up on the other show, and then it, you know, the brand split doesn't mean anything anyway. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just so hard to say. You know, they keep popping people back in NXT for a little bit, but it doesn't last too much longer after that. You know, we saw Finn Balor there for a while,
All right.
but.
How about this, Tony? What do you think about not who they're going to draft? How do we want to see them handle the draft? You know, because like the last time they did the draft, it was real cheesy with that stupid fucking
And all the
NFL robot thing.
Fox.
No,
It was
I didn't
real.
like that.
It was awful. It was horrible.
Yeah,
But
and they only did that because
have-
they were trying to get that because they had just got SmackDown on Fox, and so they were, you know, incorporating Fox into everything and
Mhm.
asking Troy Aikman what he thought about, you know, I think he even announced drafts or whatever, however they did that, man. I thought it was kind of, I don't know. Wrestling has always been wrestling, and you know, the football world, the baseball world, whatever, has always been on its own. So I don't think you need to incorporate the two unless you're promoting, like doing a commercial, and you just happen to do a read for like, you know, on a Sunday game. Friday night SmackDown is going to be on Fox at whatever time, you know, and
Mhm.
put it over like as a read. But other than that, I don't want to see any kind of incorporation in the sports world trying to integrate into the wrestling world. I thought
And
that
also,
was. I
isn't
thought that was
Scrap
stupid.
Daddy? Isn't Scrap Daddy on both shows being like the backstage kind of
Yeah,
booker?
Yeah,
in
I
Yeah.
think
a
so.
sense? So it would be
yeah,
cool if it was like the old, and maybe if they said Paul Heyman and him go back. I don't know. Now, well, Paul Heyman is too involved with the
Yeah.
with the head of the table, but they should put somebody else. See if there was someone that was on SmackDown like the equal to
Yeah.
Adam Pearce, it would
Yeah.
be better because that would incorporate in the storyline a lot more.
Right. And didn't they do something like that before, like with the general managers,
Yes,
just
it was
like making
always.
their picks? Like they were picking teams for kickball or some shit?
Yeah, because at
Yeah.
one time it was like Eric Bischoff against Teddy Long and whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think we're gonna see Roman Reigns. He's the Raw and SmackDown champion. So of
Mhm.
course we're gonna see Roman Reigns on both brands.
Right.
Does that mean though? Does the Bloodline come along with Roman Reigns, and do they have carte blanche to go on whatever show they want to go because they're attached to Roman Reigns? I don't see them splitting up the Bloodline in the
No.
draft. That would be
No.
stupid. Now, see, I don't see them splitting up the Judgment Day. But see, that's something because remember back when Bully and Devon were in the draft. Remember, and they split them up.
Yes.
So I guess now the rule is, you don't, if they go as a tag team or a group to whatever
Yeah.
brand, I don't know.
But that's not always the case, though. Last time they had the draft, didn't they? They drafted like the New Day to separate shows, but other teams they drafted them like together as one like entrant. So it's
Yeah.
like the rules, they don't apply their rules to everything, which is one
Exactly.
thing that tends to make it more confusing.
And that's why it seems the draft is kind of pointless because they're not going to stick by the rule anyway. They're going to put whoever they want on whatever show, and they're not going to stick to the rule. I just wish there wasn't a brand split period, but
Right.
here we are.
Yeah. Here we are.
The conversation keeps coming up about, do we want to make only one world championship, one women's championship, one set of tag belts, and
It's
an
not going to
intercontinental.
happen.
It ain't going to happen. I wish it would, but it's
You
not going
just
to
know
happen.
it's not going to happen because it's two different networks. The only
Right.
thing
Yeah.
they can do is do what they've done, like have the head of the table, have them go back and forth. Roman Reigns, if Roman Reigns he's got to be on both shows.
Yeah.
At least,
I do think they need to. I think they need to debut a new belt so he's not carrying around the two belts. I am kind of like they need to unify them. They kind of say that they're unified, but they're not, and they need
know
to
what?
just debut a new belt.
Maybe that could be something that culminates with when he finally drops it.
Yeah,
Because
I
that's the only
thought
time
so
it'll make
too.
sense. Because
Yeah,
as long as he's the champ, I want to see him raising both belts up like that. I want to see him do
Yeah.
that.
okay.
One
Well,
thing I
even
read,
the
Just
tag
something-
titles, it looks weird having a tag team come out and each of them are holding two belts.
yeah,
I'm not a big fan of that.
right. One thing I read
I
a
have a
few
feeling
days
they'll do
ago.
that too.
Yeah. One thing I read a few days ago, and I just read it somewhere. I mean, take out of it what you will, but I read it on Twitter that it's being said that Triple H's era is officially going to begin at the draft. Triple H is supposed to be the head of creative, and it was said by Vince McMahon, like, no, he is the head of creative. So they're saying that his official era is going to begin after the draft, like the draft on. So
See, I don't see that because it's already been the Triple H era.
I know, but then that's what I thought too. So, but then you saw Vince come back, and you don't know who's running what, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just, here's how I look at it, right? WWE's putting out a product for us to watch. We're either going to be entertained by it or we're not. Take
Right.
out of it whatever you want. As long as you're entertained by it and it keeps you watching, then all the stuff that happens, I mean, it's WWE, it's AEW, it's Impact, whatever they're putting out, just enjoy it, either or not. If you don't enjoy it, then just turn the channel.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Watch
know?
a different show.
Watch a different
Sometimes the
show.
stores open a couple of weeks before they have the grand opening. So
Yeah. Watch Law and Order SVU. I'm sure it's on some
the
channel.
draft will be Triple H's grand opening. Maybe
So-
they'll hang those little colored flags
Oh
out
God.
outside WWE headquarters. Grand
Yeah.
Oh
opening.
God.
Yeah.
The Triple H era.
So yeah, the draft will, it'll be something I'm sure we'll all be watching it, and there will be something we'll scratch our head about. There are a few names there. Like I see David Mitchell says Randy Orton returns as a surprise pick. That will be
I'm
interesting.
hoping, but I'm not holding my breath.
And then Chad made a comment earlier, about Bray Wyatt. We remember Bray Wyatt. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know what's
Yeah.
going on with Bray.
So
Something.
it's just going to be interesting, and whatever happens, I'm sure it'll make sense in someone's mind, or else they wouldn't put it on there. So
Yeah, and there'll be something happens. A tag team will be broken up. Something. Two people will be separated somewhere where it'll
It's all about the drama.
They
Yeah.
have to.
So
Cause some drama, cause some friction.
yeah, so tune in to USA Network on Monday and Fox on Friday, and check out the draft, WWE draft,
Just like
this
on
Monday,
Discord.
this Friday. I want to touch on some AEW. We got a matches on Dynamite between the Pillars, and they, MJF came out and announced there would be some qualifying matches or whatever. So up until this point, we were all thinking, is it going to be a fatal 4-way? And turns out, which it still could be, because something could happen, but the way they're telling the story now, that they, Sammy paired up with MJF, they came up to some agreement backstage. But
They're best friends now.
Yeah, they're best friends now. So Darby got the first round bye, so I'm sure he'll be wrestling Sammy next week. Yeah, it's interesting. This Pillar storyline is a good story for a change, because for a while now we've been saying that AEW needs to do a better job of telling stories.
Right.
Now all of a sudden we have like two stories that I could think of, three stories that I could think of that are actually catching fire. You have the BCC Elite story being told right now. You have the Outcasts and Britt and Jamie Hayter and all that stuff going on. Which, by the way, Britt got a bit of a shiner on Wednesday. Deb, tell us about that shiner that everyone has been seeing all across Twitter.
Oh yeah, she got hit pretty good, and she got a bit of a black eye, and she posted a picture, and there you go. There you go.
Crazy.
And Saraya and her whole family, as well as lots of fans and other people, have been kind of trolling and changing their profile picture on Twitter to that picture to kind of troll her, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah, it's storytelling.
Brilliant.
Storytelling. Yeah.
Exactly. The whole story with the outsiders, with Saraya and Tony and Ruby, it is really growing on me. At first it was kind of weird. It was just off. It was strange, but since Ruby has really been added into the mix with Saraya and Tony, I think it's taken off. They did discuss on Busted Open on Thursday how that segment with them kind of like felt rushed, which I do agree with. But I will say that it's really like this storyline with those ladies is pretty much the only thing that's getting people interested in the women's division since the Britt and Thunder storyline. So, I mean, there's something there. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah,
They
we're
need better
all,
paint.
huh?
They need better paint.
Yeah, they do. They need to say it with
Yeah,
Crown.
they need better spray paint.
Well,
Maybe,
apparently,
maybe
apparently
Mark Briscoe can join
they-
them and write it in cheese.
oh Jesus. The one week that they used, I can't remember who it was on. The one week that they used like the good spray paint, whoever it was, like it stained her gear so bad that she had to buy new gear. She couldn't get it out. So maybe that's why they're just using the cheaper like craft spray paint instead of like good Krylon. They'd be buying people new gear every week.
They got their spray paint from wish.com, I guess. But
It's
yeah,
just craft paint.
yeah. But you
It's-
know,
Yeah, that could
I'll-
go.
I'll never forget.
You could go with just the beatdowns.
yeah, yeah.
Slow those
leave-
canes,
Yeah.
a little slower.
Leave the spray paint to the NWO because those were the ones that had the gimmick to begin with. I'll never forget, Deb, I don't know if you saw it or because I know you went back and did a deep dive on WCW.
I haven't gotten very far yet. I'm still working.
Well,
I'm
I'm
still
sure
in
you've seen it on-
1995.
Okay, yeah. So you're still a year out. But yeah, the time when Ric Flair got spray painted with black spray paint all up and down his back and even with his hair.
Yes.
Yeah, that that was crazy, but yeah.
Yes.
So I know that Mission Pro is coming on at the top of the hour for the pre-show. Unless we have something else we want to hit. Deb, did you have anything else you wanted to hit?
No, I think that's it. Oh, no, yes.
No, yes.
I always talk about I always talk about like my favorite podcast of the week.
Mhm.
This week is actually a tie. There's two podcasts that I listened to this week that really, really stood out. FTR with Dax. I believe
Yes.
we all listened to that. Unfortunately, Dax's podcast is ending. I highly recommend listening to that episode if you haven't yet. He explained the reasons why he's deciding to stop the podcast. He talked about some very, very personal things.
Very
So yes, very personal. So yeah, I am sad that the podcast is ending because it was literally one of the things I looked forward to the most every week. But I understand, the reasons that he said. Also, for a good laugh, go listen or watch on YouTube Chris Van Vliet's podcast with Will Sasso. Will Sasso is the absolute best. Y'all know he was on Mad TV back in the day. He's been in countless TV shows and movies. He's a comedian. He's a physical comedian. He's an impressionist. He does the best impressions of Stone Cold, Jesse Ventura, Bret Hart. I've never seen someone do an impression of Bret Hart like that before. So, yeah, it's a good laugh. It's super entertaining. Go listen to that on podcasts or watch it on YouTube. Definitely.
Yeah. There were some issues that Dax discussed on that podcast that were,
yeah,
very, very
rough.
personal.
Almost made me cry at work.
Yeah. I won't give any spoilers or anything for anyone that wants to go listen to it, but there is a portion of the podcast where he was talking about, and I know it's a hot button topic, but religion, and spirituality. So, I loved his, take on it. So,
Yes.
the title of the podcast, the title of it's called Anxiety. So you'll find it on, wherever you find your podcasts, check it out. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. So,
yeah, he has some even for me as an atheist, he has some super fascinating views on religion and just spirituality, which, you know, like I said, even to me is just, it's very interesting the way that he talks about it and just his viewpoints on religion.
Right.
Well, I told you
So-
you should be an agnostic. This way, at least when you croak, you go to heaven, and he's there. You go, hey, God, my bad. My bad. You're doing our truth. My bad.
Oh,
All
well.
right.
Mongrovian, is there anything you wanted to touch on before we said goodbye to these folks?
I've been touching myself through this whole show. What are you talking
Oh
about?
God.
I did that just to pop Tony. You see him? All right, for those of you who don't know, me and Tony are like, okay, when we see each other live, you know that scene in Rocky where Rocky finally is jogging at the beach and him and Apollo, they're jumping up, yeah, they're hugging each other. That's me and Tony when we see each other.
Yes.
We're in their booty gym shorts.
More recently, Sammy and KO in the ring.
Hey, Mongrovian, you just have to promise me something. Do not wear those booty gym shorts that Rocky and Apollo were wearing in Rocky 3. Do not.
Nobody wants to see that.
Do
Nobody
not
wants to
get
see that.
you the booty gym
And,
shorts. Those will not
Tony,
work.
Tony, what did you mean when you said Mongrovian, your gun is digging into my hip? I didn't understand.
All right, y'all. Well, on
I
that note,
love everybody, man. It's been a great week. It's been a great week of wrestling. A lot of great wrestling coming up.
yep.
And who gives a shit
yeah.
about anything else?
Well, yeah, one more thing. How can people find you on the socials?
Oh, you go, Mike. You could go on Discord, find me there yelling at the people on Discord. Stop whining. I love you,
Whiny
man.
bastards.
Deb, how can people find you on the socials?
At That's So Debonair on the Twitter machine and Instagram. And while you're here watching us, whether you're watching live right now or whether you're watching on replay in the future, click that like button, click that subscribe button.
Yes, please do. And I'm going to hit it one more time. Mission Pro Wrestling Edge of Glory. Find it on Title Match Network. Go watch it. It's going to be a great show tonight. I wish I was there, but unfortunately, I'm in Minnesota tonight. So,
Minnesota. Oh, yeah.
everyone there is having a great time that's there live. But please get on Title Match Network and find it and watch it. And for all of us here, thanks for everyone joining us in the live chat. And we will catch you all on the flip.
Go, Tiffany.